Okay, so I want to talk about this news. I saw that you have a few articles about Tesla, and I've noticed on YouTube that everyone really likes the Tesla talk.
Yeah.
So there's this new automated thing that's coming out. Tell me about that.
You know what? I don't know if you took time to watch it. I tried and I started to fall asleep. So I was like, fully automated, go to sleep. So basically, what it was is this was an investor report, and Elon Musk is under pressure. And he's under pressure because their margins are down. They're selling less Model S's and Model X's than they have in the past. And that's because rumor is they're going to come out with a new model. I mean, those vehicles have been around for a while, especially the Model S, without any changes to the body and the styling. So people have stopped buying them. And also, everybody's so focused on the Model 3 that their high margin vehicles are selling less. So there's some pressure there. More pressure because Elon Musk in the past has said by 2017 they were going to get full autonomous driving. Well, here we are in 2019 and we still don't have it. So it was a way for Elon to say, hey, everybody, it's still happening. He wanted to showcase something. He wanted to talk up the crowd and get them excited, and buy Tesla stocks. So that's really what he was all about. So he started on the first hour, Dan, was an hour-long commercial
Oh my
for
gosh.
Tesla. So if you get excited to watch cars drive around on speed tracks and snow, I mean, it's great for a 30-second ad or even a 4 or 5 minute really awesome video. But Dan, an hour? Like it it was like every bit of promotional videos footage that they'd filmed over the last 10 years. And I don't know if they were just late getting on, like, because the guy who kicked it all off was like, oh, sorry, we're late. So anyways, I didn't watch all that. But they kicked it off. Elon talked a little bit about the vision that he has for Tesla, and then he turned it over to, let's see if I even wrote down his name. Looks like I did. Oh, yeah, Anjrey Karpathy. He's the head of artificial intelligence. And he basically got into Tesla's strategy that they have for what they call fully self-driving, or FSD. And Tesla's taken a different tactic to FSD, or fully self-driving, than companies like Waymo, or what are some of the other ones that are out there? Mobileye, Audi. Those are the ones that are the furthest ahead, and they use LIDAR. And LIDAR is basically laser radar 3D mapping. I've got LIDAR on my robot, my Roomba vacuum
Oh,
cleaner.
no way, really?
Not a Roomba, it's actually a Xiaomi that I have. Yeah, so Rosie, that's her name, my robot that vacuums. She has LIDAR. Like, it just spins around and sends out lasers and then does 3D mapping. So Elon literally said anybody who relies on LIDAR is setting themselves up for failure. Actually, if I'm going to say literally said, I'm going to quote him. So he claims that there is no future in LIDAR. He says they're, quote, just points in space, and anyone relying on LIDAR is doomed. And
Okay.
so he considers it a crutch. So if you've got this 3D mapping going on out there, then it's just a crutch, and that's really what the competition's focused on. They still have some optical cameras and sensors, but really that's where Tesla's focused. They are focused on the optical cameras and the sensors, and so they've got them all around the vehicle, and they claim to have full 360. And he says this is better, and Elon's reason for it, as well as Anjrey Karpathy, he says the roads are made for visual input. Humans are visual. That is how we drive. We are optical. We drive, we look, we see. That is how we drive. And he says that is how FSD, or fully self-driving capabilities, are going to come around. So I somewhat agree, because speed signs are optical. They don't have an RFID chip that when you drive by, it's like, oh, now slow down, right? Like, it's all based on optical. Same with painting traffic lines on the road, understanding whether you're on the right road or not, or when your turn's coming up, it's all optical. But
Especially when there's construction, right? Because they change the lanes and put pylons or orange cones.
crazy signs. Like there's this great one that's for like watch out for motorbikes with uneven ground. But what it really looks like is a man on a unicycle juggling. Like it's hilarious. First time I saw it, I was like, "Oh, watch out for guys on unicycles juggling." And then I realized what it was. Is like one of the balls was like a handlebar and then some mirrors and anyways, everything's optical and symbolic. And that's part of the problem with artificial intelligence because it's so symbolic and you have to take in all this optical information. You have to be able to identify what is it that you're looking at, and you have to figure that out and then make decisions based on that. And that's why humans and our optical capabilities have been so hard to mimic because there's so many billions and billions, if not trillions, of combinations of possibilities that you could see while you're driving down the road. And Elon Musk even had a sign, and he says, we are currently set up with our current artificial intelligence to see 99.99999, and he had all these nines of everything that you're going to see.
Wow.
Then he showed stuff. He's like, but there's still things that artificial intelligence just can't figure out. And one of them was like a whole bunch of semi-trailers that were up at a 45-degree angle, and they were towing each other. So there was one that was, and it was trying to figure out like, what's happening here? Am I looking at trucks or am I not looking at trucks? Because, they're at a 45-degree angle, they're being towed, and, there's all kinds of just strange things that artificial intelligence has to run it through its binary yes or no's and calculate and crunch the data before it can say slam on the brakes, swerve, right? So those are some of the problems dealing with artificial intelligence. And then to get back to the optical concept that Tesla is focusing on instead of using LIDAR, I feel like that's a little bit weak. His argument of saying LIDAR is doomed. Well, no, I don't think so. I think you should really take the best of both worlds. I mean, how does it hurt to have LIDAR going as well with your 3D mapping if something goes wrong on the optical side? Because, Dan, we just went through a spring thaw and we have mud and dirt everywhere and cars are spitting that up at us, right? Like any cameras, any optical sensors, they're just going to be all gummed up.
Yeah.
But LIDAR going around, that's going to be mapping everything and getting your 3D points. So I'm personally somebody who says, no, it's not one or the other. It's yes and yes, right? Like,
yes.
This is your life.
Yeah, using everything at your disposal. I wonder if there's some kind of proprietary thing with LIDAR, if that's why he's shying away from it. Is the price?
I don't think so. I don't think it's proprietary because, Dan, it's on my robot vacuum cleaner, and I don't they had to pay Waymo or anybody for it. But you know what? There's probably patents galore out there dealing with LIDAR. Maybe the guy who came up with it gets a cut. I don't know. But they're definitely shying away from it and, quote, LIDAR is doomed.
Well, here's a few things that I really liked from your article. Number one, it said that they're working on a new battery design for over 1 million miles.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah, so we did get some nuggets outside of the artificial intelligence. And so, yeah, they're saying 1 million miles before they got to replace the batteries. They currently are good for 300 to 500,000 miles before.
Which is better than a gasoline engine. Yeah, like most Toyotas or Hondas only last to 250,
Yeah, you can get to 500,000 if you're lucky. And if you got a diesels regularly can make it to 1 million. So
what?
Oh yeah. You can.
Are you talking kilometers or miles?
No, we're talking miles.
Wow.
Yeah. Now some of our listeners might be like, no, 800,000, right? But it's not unheard of to get 1 million miles on a diesel. But of course, with the diesel, you got all the oil changes and the maintenance and spark plugs and filters, right? Like it's all those types of things that aren't in an electric vehicle. So that's awesome. That means that they're going to be able to warranty the batteries much longer than they currently are.
Is that coming to all of the cars or just the Model S
ones? It sounds like it's a completely new redesign. So this isn't a software update. It would be probably in the next generation of vehicles like the new Model S that's coming out.
I see.
They could. adjust the model and put in the new batteries. In fact, Tesla's famous for that. Even though their Model S hasn't changed the way it looks, how many models are out there? Like there's got to be something like 15 to 20 different models where they have like the P90S, the P90D, the P85, the 65, like they've got all these different ranges, and it's mostly been around the battery packs as they've been improving that technology. So that's the first little nugget, is that they are redesigning batteries. And you know what? Hands down, Tesla does have the best batteries out there. In fact, I've been watching lots of reviews and looking at other electric cars, and nobody comes close to Tesla yet. And they are industry leading on that. So another little nugget is the robo-taxi service. Now, you talked about it last week.
Yeah.
When you heard about the lease backs, that if you lease a Tesla car, that they're not even giving you the opportunity to buy it out.
Right.
They take it back. And so Elon Musk expanded on that, and he says he has a goal that by 2020 to have 1 million FSD, fully self-driving vehicles in their taxi fleet. And he expanded that to mean it's going to be in places where a lot of people don't have the ride sharing capabilities of hopping into a Tesla and getting that experience of being in a Tesla. So he's kind of seeing it as a taxi service as well as advertising. You get somebody into one of these things and it drives them to the grocery store and they're just wowed, and hopefully Tesla sells more. So I think that's great, but I think it's a little bit insane because 1 million, really? Elon, 2020. What year are we in right now, Elon?
Yeah, it's coming up.
You've got a year and a half to get 1 million FSD taxis. So let's talk a little bit more about fully self-driving and what his goals are, because that's really what he was trying to tell investors. So he believes that FSD will be feature complete, meaning it's all in there by the end of 2019. And he says they've already been hardware complete for the last 2 years. So since 2017, all the hardware has been there to be fully FSD. Now it's just working on the artificial intelligence and getting the software up to speed. So he figures by the end of 2019, they'll be there. By Q2 of 2020, he says drivers won't need to pay attention. So does that mean FSD? I don't know. Is that fully self-driving if I'm not paying attention? I would assume so, because right now they're like, put your hand on the wheel. Like every 30 seconds or so, you got to put your hand on the wheel. And then he says he's hoping to have full U.S. government approval, not statewide.
Wow.
U.S. government approval by the end of 2020. And I think that's why he's hoping to have 1 million leasebacks ready to be fully autonomous by the end of 2020.
To kick out Uber, huh?
I'm going to say, no way, Elon. You're not going to have 1 million. Is he going to get the fully self-driving approval from the government? Perhaps by the end of 2020, but he's not going to have 1 million. But it would still be cool, and I wish him the best in it because I think fully self-driving is awesome. Think about all the seniors, the ride-sharing capabilities. I think it's really going to change the way we look at ownership of vehicles.
And the roads and the way how cities are built and constructed. I really hope it happens. But I still have in the back of my mind that kid that was watching Harry Potter while he was having the autonomous driving going. And then his Tesla slammed right into a truck because it was shiny. It was one of those shiny mirror trucks, Yeah. Slammed right into the back and died. So, I mean, I just don't know if I trust it yet. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are there with you too, Dan. And like I mentioned earlier, he was talking about 2017 that we'd already be there, and we're not. Here we are 2 years later, and we're still struggling. And every company that's worked on this, Waymo is probably the most ahead. They were part of Google. Everybody's saying this is so much harder, and it's all around the AI. And that's really what Elon Musk focused on, was the AI. Once he tried to tell everybody LIDAR's garbage, then he really focused on what they're doing. And you know what? They are, from what I can tell, and I'm a layman on this, I'm by no means an expert on artificial intelligence and self-driving vehicles, but it sure does seem like Tesla is way ahead of everybody, at least in what they're allowing people to do. So lane assist and laser radar so that you slow down. I mean, that stuff's been going on for well over a decade in vehicles that you could buy. But now we're talking about full AI, recognizing somebody on a bicycle in front of you who's shoulder checking to the right, and there's a risk that person could move into your lane. It's that kind of thing that us humans optically looking might say, oh, that guy's he's shoulder checking. He may move into my lane. But that artificial intelligence has to say, that is a person on a bicycle. They're looking to the right. They may move into my lane and then slow down, right? Like that's...
Yeah, it's got a long way to go.
Yeah, it's got a long way to go. But he does talk about how awesome it is. He talks about how it's all going to happen and work under 100 watts. So it's all about saving power. He also talked about new FSD hardware. So the hardware that they currently have, which, as I mentioned earlier, has been around for the last 2 years, they're already working on the next gen of FSD hardware. So maybe they'll throw some LIDAR in there. I sure hope they do, at least put some kind of 3D mapping instead of just purely optical. But he says it's going to be 3 times as powerful and should be ready in the next 2 years. So, 2021, we might see another round. That I can believe. Will it be 3 times as powerful? I guess we'll have to see. And I'm willing to bet we won't be full FSD, not by 2021. I think it would be wonderful, but Elon, your world of self-driving vehicles, 1 million of them, Teslas driving around and picking people up, I just don't see it in 2020. I would be shocked and amazed if we've got it by 2025, but it is a feature I'd like to see.
Yeah, me too.